Just before we begin, let's pray. Father, Lord God, Lord, we just thank you that we can gather here today, Lord, as sons and daughters. And that, Lord, that we can gather in fellowship. And Lord, today we just pray, Lord, that the word that we receive is from you. Lord, that it is not from man, but from your Spirit. Lord, your Spirit of truth. Lord, I pray in this room today that every ear be open and every heart be able to receive. In your mighty name we pray. Amen. Well, if you're used to my preaching, you'll know that I will always tell you a nice little story. And today is no different. Okay, no different. And today I want to share with you something that hit me a couple of weeks ago. Something that was pretty ordinary, but it had a significant impartation into me, for want of a better word. And a couple of weeks ago, well, actually before I begin there, has anyone got any odd jobs or odd things around the house that you've been putting up with for a long time that you just haven't fixed or got to? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah? Now, if I was to ask everyone to put up their hand if you knew or you had something, I'm just wondering how many people would put their hand up. And children, if you know mummy or daddy has something that's broken that needs fixing, don't be afraid to say, yes, we do. Yeah, is anyone like that? Yeah. Where's those hands? Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you about a couple, and I'm going to tell you about one that I've had for a little while. That's a good thing Rebecca's not here, so I won't get into much trouble. So, when I was younger, we were about 18 years of age, we bought our first computer, okay? My parents had bought this computer, I think it was a 486DX, okay? I think it had 16 kilobytes? Can't remember. Megabytes, was it 16? It was the thing to have back then, okay? And us being teenage boys, the great thing about having a computer was we could do homework. We could play games. That was the great thing about having a computer. So the thing that we learned very quickly with this brand new computer in our house, we'd come home from school and we'd both race to turn on that computer. And we'd turn that computer and it would power up the fans and everything. But this computer was so good, you know what would happen in our house every time we turn on the power? The lights would flicker and all the power would go out. And we quickly learned that this computer was so powerful, it sapped all the power of the house and would flick the safety switch off. Every time, without a doubt. You could be guaranteed, if you went to turn that computer on, everything would go off. So, over time, we quickly learned that there was a way around this. Okay, if we wanted this computer to be on and we wanted to play the computer, all we had to do was go around to all the devices of the house and just turn them off beforehand. Pretty cool, eh? So we used to go around and we used to turn the TV off, turn mum and dad's alarm clocks off, turn the oven off. Well, sometimes you'd have to turn the fridge off as well. So between the two of us, before we started up the computer, we'd go around and do this routine, turn everything off. And we did that for years. We put up with that problem for years. And it's quite a pain because, you know, if you turn alarm clocks off or turn fridges off and you forget to turn them on, that can be a bit of a problem. But we put up with that problem for years. And I remember having visitors around saying, what on earth are you doing? Oh, we're just turning on the computer. We found a way around this thing and this is what we're doing. And we did that forever. And I remember as a teenager being quite embarrassed about it, but hey, I got used to it and that's what I did. Jump back to just 2 weeks ago, I had this thing in this house that I'd been wanting to fix for some time. Okay, it's quite a simple thing. And I want to say it was for weeks that this was like this, but I'm probably going to have to say months, just because I know some of you will be talking to Rebecca and need the truth. Okay? So, cut a long story short, at the front of our house, everyone has a door, right? And on that door, you've got a cover plate where your door handle and your lock is to your house, the front door of your house. Does everybody know what I'm talking about? The cover plate? Well, on that cover plate, if you were to have a look, you'll probably find it's got a couple of flat, there's no screws at the front, but it's got like these rivet covers over it that sit on the door. I've got 4 of them on the front door, right? And late last year sometime, I noticed every time we closed the door, I'd hear this little ping, and this little washer or rivet or something would pop out of the plate and it'd fall on the porch, on the ground. And we'd hear it every time. I was like, oh, that's a bit of a pain. What's that? And so I'd pick it up, I had a bit of a look at it, and I thought, oh, that comes from that plate. I'll just pop it back in. Okay, and I put it back in. It sat in there quite nicely. I thought, oh, good. And then I closed the door, boom, comes straight back out again. I was like, okay, that's a bit of a problem. But the thing with me is every time I'm going through that door, do you know what I'm leaving of a morning? I'm always leaving, I'm in a hurry. Because I've just had 3 girls and a wife who are in a mad panic to get to school and to work. And I'm also trying to do the same. So they all rush off and I'm there left closing the door. And every morning I close the door, rivet comes out, boop, boop, and I pick up, put it in. I'll have to get to that later because I don't have time now. Put it back in, lock the door, and head off to work. When I get home at night, what do you think I find when I come home at night? I'm the last one back home. I come home to the house, the porch, front door's locked, and there's the little rivet just sitting on the porch because the girls have been home and boom, close the door and there's the rivet back out. I've got to get that fixed. And this went on for some time and I thought one day, you know what, I've really got to get this fixed. So I thought, yeah, okay, I think all I've got to do is undo the screw behind the door and I'll just put it back in and then I'll make sure the screw's really tight and reaches that rivet and holds it in. So I did that. I spent, it was about 35 minutes actually. 30 minutes was to find the screwdriver and 5 minutes was me attempting to put it back in. So I remember going, oh yeah, found the screwdriver and I'm screwing this screw back in, I've got the plate in, and I'm thinking, yep, I think that's done it. Close the door. Rivet pops back out again. I'm thinking, wow, this is just crazy. And I thought, you know what, this is broken. I'm going to have to replace the whole plate, I'm going to have to go to Bunnings, and I'll just have to get a new one. There's nothing that can be done. And I'm not a tradesman, most of you hopefully know that, okay? But anyway, so that went on, and every time I go to Bunnings typically to get stuff so I can mow the lawn, all that kind of stuff, but every time I went to Bunnings, and Bunnings is probably only 400 metres away from my house, so I don't have a good excuse. But every time I went to Bunnings, I'd go there and I'd come out and hop in the car, and I'd say to one of my girls, I think I'm forgetting something, and I'd drive off, and then all of a sudden, hey, you've got to get a new plate and a new rivet for that front door, because eventually it's going to come off if you don't resolve this. But every time I just forgot to do it. I thought, I'll do it later. Next time. This went on for months. Can you believe that? Am I the only husband like that? Yes, I am the only husband, or no? So 2 weeks ago, I arranged for a guy that I know to come to the house, not for the door, just to meet. I had to meet him between 7:45 and 8 a.m. And I said, hey, we had to meet for something. I said, you've got to be here between 7:45 and 8 o'clock because if you're after 8, I'm gone. I've got to get to work or I'm late. He's like, yeah. So this morning I'm waiting there at the door. I'm not hearing the doorbell. And 7:45 comes and goes. 7:50 comes and goes. 7:57 comes and goes. 7:59 goes, and then 8 o'clock, doorbell. Bing, bing. I'm like, oh, he's here. So I open up the door and there's my friend. He goes, hey, I'm here. And I said, oh, good. Here you go. I've got to head on my way. And he goes, oh, just before, I found this on the ground. And he picks up my little rivet. And I said, yeah, I said, don't worry about that, thanks. That's just to my front door. It's, it does it all the time. It's broken, I've got to replace it. Anyway, I got to go, and he goes, hey, I can fix that for you. And I said, no, I've tried. Trust me, it's broken. It's just got to be replaced. And he's like, no, I can fix it for you. And he gives me this look. And I said, no, I told you I have to leave at 8 o'clock. And you and I are talking right now, that's time ticking. And he's like, no, don't be silly. He gives me this real look, this real challenge. Get me a screwdriver. Get me a screwdriver, 2 minutes. And he goes, are you telling me that 2 minutes is going to kill you? You're already late now because we're talking. So 2 more minutes, is that really going to hurt you? And I thought, you know what? I'm going to prove this guy wrong because I know it's busted. Okay? So I'm like, yeah, hold the door for a sec. And I went to go and start running, looking for that screwdriver. And I thought, I've only got 2 minutes. So anyway, I grabbed the next best thing. I've grabbed my trusty little Swiss Army knife. Okay, if you know a Swiss Army knife, it's got a tool for everything. So I raced back down, and I come to the door, and I said, here you go, here's my Swiss Army knife. He looks at me and he goes, what is this? I asked for a screwdriver. I said, hey. Took it back off him, opened up, there's the screwdriver. Haven't you seen one of these before? If you haven't seen one of these before, you ain't going to be able to fix that. So I give it to him. And then all of a sudden, he starts moaning and he starts pulling all the screws off the back of this door. Not just the one that had the problem, but every screw. And if you know, like me, that if you pull every screw out of a plate on the door, it's going to be more than 2 minutes, at least in my experience. So he starts pulling them out, and he's mumbling. He goes, I wish I had a proper screwdriver. And I'm sitting there going, yeah, this is just 2 minutes where I'm going to be going, I told you so. Anyway, he starts going, and then all of a sudden he's persisting, he puts everything, he puts the rivets back in, he's there struggling with my Swiss Army knife, puts it back on, and then goes, there you go, done, fixed. And I was like, no, that's not fixed. And he goes, what? And he goes, no, it's fixed. I said, yeah? And we're looking at each other, face to face, the door's open. And so then I just grabbed the door, boom, slammed the door. Because you know what happens when I slam the door? Bing! So I slammed the door, waiting for this noise. Bang, close the door, there's no noise. What happened? Did I miss it? And he goes, and he looks at me funny because I've just slammed the door while we're talking to each other. He goes, what are you doing? I said, I was just testing it. He goes, yeah, but it's fixed. I said, so I open it up, I have a look, and sure enough, the rivet's there. It's in its place, it hasn't moved. And I thought, okay. I look at him again. Bang! A little bit harder this time. The house shakes a little bit. The rivet doesn't fall. I'm thinking, what is going on here? I spent time trying to fix this thing, and this guy has fixed it in less than 2 minutes. He's fixed it. And I open the door, and I'm like, now I've got my fingernails on this rivet to see if I can just pull it back out. It's not going anywhere. And right then and there, I felt the Spirit of the Lord say to me, hey, you have just been taught a lesson. You've just been taught a big lesson. You've been putting up with this door for months. You've been looking at it, you've even had a go at fixing it. But you've been putting up with that door for months. And someone who's come in and offered in less than 2 minutes, not even with a proper screwdriver, has fixed that door for you. And I was like, wow. How often do we get around just making by and not spending the time to fix it? And I tell you what, after that, I apologised to my friend and I said, thank you so much. I said, you were right, I was wrong. You saved me a few $100s probably for a new lock and for a plate. And he wasn't even there for that purpose. Out of his own time, he did it. And then I can tell you, after that, for the next 45 minutes, on the way to work, I'm feeling God saying, hey, you need to learn from this. You need to learn that you've got to be wise. You can't have things. I kept asking God, I said, God, why didn't I fix it? I did the same stuff. I undid the back. Maybe I didn't undo the whole plate. But why? And God gave me a few things. And what I want to do for right now is there's something that came in that I learned from it. And I want to share, we can't play a video clip here today, but I want to share something that I feel that God dropped on me, okay? Has anyone seen the movie We Are Marshall? Anyone seen the movie We Are Marshall? Okay. All right, well, if you haven't seen it, I recommend that you see it. I'm not sure what rating it is, so just check that. But what it is, it's based on a true story, and it's about a high school football university called Marshall University. All right? And in the 1970s, this university had a very, very good football team, American football. And in the 1970s, they have a tragic accident that not only kills their team, but kills their coaches and the support staff of that university in about the 1970s, called We Are Marshall. And from that event, 70 people in their community die from this tragic event. It impacts the families. You can imagine 70 people from the same community all dying. So that school, that university lost their staff, they lost parts of the university family and a very, very good football team. And when the new season comes around, when the new year comes on for the school, their football team is in tatters. They don't have one. And so this president, the president of Marshall University, has to make a decision. He has to make a decision. He says, and he makes a decision to rebuild this football team. And you'll learn in this movie that this guy, Don, he's the president, that he does not have any idea. He's not even interested in football, but he just knows he has to rebuild this team. And he has to go about trying to find a coach, and he does this massive job of trying to find this coach to try and rebuild what was taken away. And it's an amazing story. And he spends many, many weeks trying to find the right coach that's up to the task. And he goes through coach after coach after coach. And every coach that he goes to see says, sorry, no, it's not for me, I'm not going to do it. And he finds this one coach. And this one coach is why I love this movie. Because you'll see this coach, he appoints this coach, and this coach has something. This coach has something that most of us, I think, need to take on. And the situation is this, is that because they don't have a team, they need to find new recruits to get to their university. Okay, they need to get new football players, so they start trying to offer positions to students to come to their university to play quarterback, fullback, all of those kind of things. And it doesn't happen. And so the coach calls a meeting with the president of this Marshall University. And he says, hey, we need your help. We need you to help us get the rules changed so that we can hire, I think they're called freshmen, I think. So they wanted this rule to be changed by the football body that will allow them to hire younger players so that they can at least have a team, because they just can't recruit enough on their own. So they go to Don, who's the president, and say, Don, you have to get this rule changed. Okay, you need to see this committee and get it changed. So Don, who is a very, very businessman, he's very educated, he knows how to speak, he writes letters, he makes phone calls. Okay, and he's asking, can we change this rule? And then the coach asks Don for an update. They're having this big problem. They know that it's April and May is just about to begin and we need a team. And he says to the president, he says, what news do you have for me? Were you able to get that rule changed? so that we can rebuild our team. And you know what Don says, the president? The president says no. He goes, every letter, every phone call is no. There's no positives coming back. This isn't going to happen. This is not going to happen. But the thing that I love most about this movie, and if we had this working today, you'd see it a lot better than what I'm probably explaining it to you today. But he asks the president this question. Okay, everybody listening, he asks the president this question. He says, Don, when you met your wife, okay, you listening? When you met your wife, did you propose to her via a letter? And he says, no, sir. I've been married 25 years. He goes, I bet you didn't. I bet you went to your wife's home. I bet you went to face, and you got down on your knee and you pleaded for her to say yes. I bet you didn't write a letter, and I bet you sure as heck didn't make a phone call. And he's like, wow. And I'm sitting there, that's right. You see, this man had written letters and he'd made phone calls. And all of a sudden, this coach was saying, hey, have you done enough? Have you done everything to try and get this rule changed? Or are you just doing the usual stuff? Are you just trying what you know or what you've done? And the president looks back at the coach because he knows what the coach is saying. The coach is saying, hey, you need to not just write a letter. You need not to just make a phone call. You've got to make a trip. You've got to do this face to face, no matter the cost, because otherwise we can't have this team rebuilt. And so you'll see in this scene, if we were able to play it, you'd see a scene. In the next scene, you see this president who's always dressed up in a suit, a bit like me today. And he flies all the way to Kansas. And he gets to this big, majestic building where this football committee is. It's night time, and it looks like the head of the committee is just about to leave, and it is torrential rain. You think Debbie was bad in the movie? It looked twice as bad. So he's there in the rain, and he captures this guy just as he's trying to get home in the dark. And he pleads and he begs for his help. And he comes back victorious. Because by his engagement, by his sacrifice, and his willingness to go as far as he can go, he was able to change the committee's ruling, and they were able to put together a team. And the principle on this that I want us all here today to hear is the principle of there is a first for everything. There is a first for everything. If you think about it today, you just have to open your Bible, and there are firsts everywhere in that Bible. Firsts everywhere. All of us, we were born. We had to take our first breath, didn't we? You can't remember it, either can I. But we had to. We had to learn our first steps. And our whole life as we grow and we mature is all about firsts, isn't it? Because if you don't do the first, then you can't do the second time. And today I'm wondering, as a share, when was the last time you tried a first? When was the last time you did a first? I think the older we get, I'm getting older, we steer away from doing firsts in our life. We like to do what's comfortable. We like to do routine. We like to do what we know's worked in the past. And we're afraid of firsts. But if you think about it, as your childhood, as you've grown, as you've got married and had children, you're experiencing firsts. You know, some of us this year, I know there's some that are getting married. That's a first for you. Some of you might be thinking of getting engaged. I'm looking up the back there. That'll be a first for you. You know, I can remember a first for me. I'm just going to share a couple of firsts so we know that we're talking about. But when I met Rebecca, okay, for the first time, there were two other guys that were very keen on Rebecca. Okay? I had some competition. Alright? But let me tell you, because of the desire that God had placed in my heart, the fight was on. The fight was on for her heart. Okay? Now, I knew these two guys really, really liked Rebecca. And I did too. And I remember we all got invited to Australia's Wonderland. And it was a church meeting, youth group outing. So we went to Australia's Wonderland. Those who know Australia's Wonderland, it's a theme park. Anyway, somehow we ended up near a roller coaster called the Beastie. I think that's what it was called. Does anyone remember that? Anyone been on the Beastie? Yeah? Okay. Well, a little bit about me is I'm afraid of roller coasters. Okay? I've never been on a roller coaster in my life, and nor did I want to. Okay? And you know, the Bible says, I think it's in James 1, it says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know the testing of your faith develops perseverance." So, verse 2, it says, "Consider it pure joy when you face a trial and temptation." Well, can I tell you that night when we found ourselves as a youth group down at the Beastie roller coaster, and Rebecca is saying that she's going to go on that roller coaster, and there's a number of us boys thinking, we need to be sitting next to her. I did not have a spirit of joy. Can I tell you what I had a spirit of? Fear. I had a spirit of fear. Because I did not like roller coasters. And nor had I been on one. But hey, if you're going to impress the one that you love, or that you hope to get, you're going to climb some mountains, aren't you? So first off, I sort of, I go very quiet when I have this fear. And I start assessing the surroundings. I start looking, and I start seeing my opposition, the two other guys going, yeah, I'm going on it. I'm going to go up the front. That's the best place to be. Rebecca, where are you going? I'm like, okay, he's definitely going to go on the roller coaster. That means I'm up. And then this other guy says, yeah, I'm going to go on the roller coaster. And I said, yeah, I'm going to go on the roller coaster. Through the grace of God, Rebecca chose to sit next to me. But can I tell you, the spirit of fear was there the moment I got on. And I am doing all I can within me to look tough. I hope this is fast. What speed do you think it gets up to? You know, I'm playing it cool, but on the inside, I'm shaking. So, long story short, you can do just about anything when your heart's after it, can't you? You will just about do anything. And you know what? That day was a day of firsts for me. It was the first day I got to sit next to Rebecca. Yes. And it was the first time ever I got on a roller coaster at the age of 18 and did not throw up. So today are your firsts. You know, if we look in the Bible, you see people who have come to firsts. If you look at Noah, I mean, they never heard of an ark. And they never heard of a flood. And here is a man that God is asking to do a first. And today, I believe we've been challenged, all of us, no matter what temptation or trial, that says that we should have joy. You might have fear, but let me tell you, when you overcome, you're going to have that joy. Amen? You will have that joy. You know, I look around, so many of us have got things of firsts to happen. Maybe it's your first child. Maybe you're doing your HSC. Maybe you're getting your first job and you're writing a resume. So many things of firsts. Getting a house. And we need to not be afraid of those things. And I believe God, through that experience 2 weeks ago, was telling me, hey, there's 2 types of wisdom. Our Bible even says there's 2 types of wisdom. There's earthly, worldly wisdom. And then there's God's wisdom. Amen. And so what I want to do for you now is I want to read a little bit. Well, actually, I'm going to finish reading James, and I'm going to take you to another verse. So James 1, verses 2 to 5, it says, "Consider it pure joy, not fear. Consider it pure joy, my brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Perseverance must finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, he should ask God, who gives generously to all those who, without finding fault, and it will be given to them." So, we all know that we face trials and temptations. At school, we will face a test to see if we're ready. They'll give us exams. That way they know if you've got the knowledge and have the wisdom to apply that knowledge. That's what they're there for, to see if you're ready. And it's the same here of our Father. He wants to make sure that we are ready for whatever He's trying to grow in us, mature us in. Doesn't matter how old you are. If you're 7, if you're 18, if you're 75, whatever. There's first things, and God wants us to always grow and to learn. And I want to read what wisdom is. So I'm going to read from Proverbs 3. I'm going to read through it, and I'm probably going to jump on a few verses that highlighted to me. The first one is, this is verse 3. "My son, do not forget my teaching, but keep my commands in your heart, for they will prolong your life many years and bring you peace and prosperity. Let love and faithfulness never leave you. Bind them around your neck, write them on the tablet of your heart. Then you will win favour and a good name in the sight of God and man." "Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to him, and he will make your paths straight." Verse 7. "Do not be wise in your own eyes. Fear the Lord and shun evil. This will bring health to your body and nourishment to your bones." Number 9. "Honour the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing, and your vats will brim over with the new wine. My son, do not despise the Lord's discipline, and do not resent his rebuke, because the Lord disciplines those he loves. As a father, the son he delights in. Blessed are those who find wisdom." I'm going to read that again.
Blessed are those who find wisdom, those who gain understanding, for she is more profitable than silver and yields better returns than gold. She is more precious than rubies, nothing you desire can compare with her. Long life is in her right hand, and in her left hand are riches and honour. Her ways are pleasant ways, and all of her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to those who take hold of her. Those who hold her fast will be blessed. By wisdom the Lord laid the earth's foundations. By understanding he set the heavens in place. By his knowledge the watery depths were divided, and the clouds let drop dew. My son, do not let wisdom and understanding out of your sight. Preserve sound judgment and discretion. They will be life for you, an ornament to grace your neck. Then you will go on your way in safety, and your foot will not stumble. When you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Have no fear of sudden disaster or the ruin that overtakes the wicked. For the Lord will be at your side, and you will keep your foot from being snared. Do not withhold good from those to whom it is due, when it is in your power to act. Do not say to your neighbour, come back tomorrow and I'll give it to you, when you already have it with you. Do not plot harm against your neighbour who lives trustfully near you. Do not accuse anyone for no reason when they have done you no harm. Do not envy the violent or choose any of their ways. For the Lord detests the perverse, but takes the upright into his confidence. The Lord's curse is on the house of the wicked, but he blesses the home of the righteous. He mocks proud mockers, but shows favour to the humble and oppressed. The wise inherit honour, but fools get only shame. There is so much in that alone, just in Proverbs 3, that all of us should take more time and read and meditate and pray. And when I was reading this a couple of weeks ago, I find it really interesting that in Proverbs 3, that it personifies wisdom as a lady, as a female. Do you find that? Yeah? And when it says you should pursue wisdom, we should hold fast to her, for in her left hand and her right hand are life and honour. And immediately I think, what does that mean? I mean, can you imagine, how many people know wisdom was described as a guy? No. Because, you know, if I look at some of the men that I know in my life, this is on my side of the family, so I don't want to get in trouble off the father-in-law here. Okay. But if I described my dad of an evening, in his left hand there'd be the remote control, and he'd be sitting down, and in his right hand there'd be a cold drink. That's not very productive, is it? But it's amazing that in here we personify a woman. And I believe it's personifying a wife. Because not only do you need to chase, but you need a commitment. And when you're husband and wife, and you stand at that altar, and you come before God and you say, I do, in sickness and in health, for richer, for poorer, for better or for worse, I'm with you. And today, I believe the Lord is saying that is what our heart has to be with wisdom. You have to chase wisdom with the same stride, with the same encouragement that you're chasing your partner. And when you chase that and you hold fast of it, you're going to see your life grow and mature. Amen? Women are great multitaskers, aren't they? Yeah? And I think wisdom, all of the personification of woman and what she is such amazing. And when you look at it in the light on how we are to chase and we are to be committed, it's a relationship. And that's what the Bible's telling us today. The Bible tells us to hold wisdom close. And the way that we can do it, once you find it, do not lose it. And the only way that you find it and do not lose it is you have to know where it is, and you have to be in a relationship all the time. All the time. It's not something you just grab and you put away, but it's something you have to develop and grow with every day for the rest of your life. Amen. Amen. So today I want to go back and I want to look at a couple of things. The first thing is wisdom. We need wisdom. Amen. Just as the musicians start to come up, we need wisdom. And we don't need just the earthly wisdom, but we need God's wisdom. Do you know what the difference between God's wisdom is and earthly wisdom? Anybody? Earthly wisdom, oh, my daughter's got an answer. Earthly wisdom is usually based on experience and the knowledge that we have on how to apply earthly wisdom. Okay? And when you think of earthly wisdom, or your own wisdom, your spirit, our Bible says our spirit, okay, knows the mind of our body, because our spirit and our body are together. But godly wisdom comes from knowing Him. It comes from knowing the mind of God. And the only way we can know the mind of God is just to have the Spirit of Christ, have the Holy Spirit. Because the Holy Spirit knows the mindset of God. Amen. And so in everything we do, I don't know what trials, I don't know what temptations all of us are facing today. Maybe you've been living with something and you're a bit tired of it. And you've been avoiding it, you've been walking around it. But I believe God is saying today is enough. It's enough. You need to start applying God's wisdom to this situation or to this thing. And I believe He's also saying to us today is the first time for everything. Maybe you're here today and you need to do your first. Maybe you need to respond to God for the first time in your life. You've been sitting back and you've been watching. But today might be that day that it needs to be your first. Maybe there's something else in your life that you need to tackle. And it's a first for everything. Let's stand.